Hi everyone, my name is Neo, a Japanese philosophy YouTuber. Today is Parmenides. First, I talk to you the key point of Parmenides philosophy. The most crucial point to understand about Parmenides philosophy is this: being and non-being can never intersect. This fundamental principle is the cornerstone of his entire philosophical system. If you grasp this concept, you've captured the essence of Parmenides' thought. Everything else in his philosophy stems from and supports this central idea. This is key point. Then I talk from the introduction. Parmenides' philosophy, the thesis of being and the denial of generative change. Okay, Parmenides was a philosopher of the Eleatic school and is considered the most influential thinker in early Greek philosophy. His disciples include Zeno of Elea, famous for paradoxes such as Achilles and the tortoise. Parmenides' philosophy is regarded as the pinnacle of all philosophical thought, from ancient times to the present and beyond. Many subsequent philosophies have attempted to resist and fight against Parmenides' ideas, but the correctness of his thesis of being remains unshaken. So Parmenides is the most biggest, greatest philosopher in all history of the philosophy, I think. Then I will show you the two key points of Parmenides' philosophy. First, the thesis of being. He said, being and nothing is nothing. This thesis was presented by Parmenides in the form of poetry as the word of goddess of truth, and nothing cannot exist. You have to listen carefully. Nothing cannot exist. Okay, it's very simple, of course, thesis. Nothing cannot exist. But this is super crucial, important. And therefore cannot be thought about or spoken of, right? Nothing cannot be exist. Nothing is nothing. So we cannot think about nothing. Do you understand? Even thinking about nothing brings it into existence in thought. If we think about nothing, then nothing appears in our mind. Do you understand? Which contradicts its nature, because nothing is nothing. Parmenides said, we cannot even think nothing. This is super important and crucial thesis on Parmenides. You see? On the other hand, being exists completely and is unaffected by nothing. Being and nothing does not intersect, and there is no affects each other. Because if nothing affects being, then being will change nothing. Impossible. And being affects nothing. How affects? Because nothing is nothing. How affects nothing? Okay, super interesting, super important logic. Do you know? Do you understand? I'm afraid that only I excited this Parmenides thesis. I hope you too excited the thesis of Parmenides. Okay. It's physically and logically impossible for something that doesn't exist to act on or affect something that does exist. Parmenides describes this as the same things being thought and existing. What can be thought about exists, and what exists can be thought about. So, Parmenides distinct nothing and being. Okay, this is the first point. Very important first point. Then, from this point happens to the second point. That is denial of generative change, or the word is static. Generative change refers to the change from not being to being, or nothing to something. But Parmenides argues that this change is impossible because nothing cannot give or receive any action. Yeah, logically and physically. The same logic applies to disappearance, change from being to nothing. So, concepts like movement and multiplicity are also rejected. Movement requires place, which was regarded as emptiness or void, because in Greek, emptiness also means non-existence. Kenon, in Greek word kenon. This means nothing. So there is no place for movement to occur. And the concept of many is also denied, as it too requires place or void. These are the 2 points of Parmenides' thought. Then, so what? You think, oh, okay, logically and physically nothing cannot be exist. Okay. But so what? Because there is a world, a changing world. Parmenides is correct only in logic, but in fact, Parmenides is not correct like this. Then we should think why Parmenides said such the things. Parmenides only want to make us confused. No. It's very philosophical demand drives the Parmenides to say that. Parmenides' conclusions are based purely on logic, right? Which raises the question of whether logical correctness is more valid than observed phenomena. That is, I want to say. To understand Parmenides and his disciple Zeno, known for paradoxes like Achilles cannot catch up with the tortoise, we need to 3 things. And first, we need to become aware of and break free from assumptions. And second, we need to recognize that what we usually consider as being is not the same as what Parmenides means by being. Parmenides thinks the pure meaning of being. Do you understand? Then the third, we need to understand that if we take the thesis of existence as truth, then the changing world we perceived must be considered false. Then, Parmenides' philosophy demonstrates that humans can reach the truth of nature and existence through language. This is the most important point on Parmenides. Why we have to regard the logical correctness is more important than the observed phenomenon. That's because the humans can reach the truth of nature and existence only through language, because nothing is super correct. Nothing is more correct than the thesis of nothing is nothing. We usually do not think the pure meaning of nothing or being. Parmenides is the first man to think the pure meaning of being or nothing. Then the thesis was born that being and nothing is nothing. I am not confident that I can explain to you well or not, but I hope you understand the Parmenides thesis, and nothing is nothing. Nothing cannot think, nothing cannot speak, and being and nothing never intersect each other. As for us, we usually mix up being and nothing in our language and constantly think about nothing. And however, when confronted with Parmenides' logic, we can understand and be convinced of the correctness of the statement like nothing is nothing, and being and not being do not intersect. This correctness even includes an ethical dimension, I think, suggesting that it must not be incorrect. If nothing is incorrect, then we confuse the being and nothing. Messy. We should not mess them up, nothing and being, right? And unlike Heraclitus, who believed that nature was unknowable to the human intellect, Parmenides shows that words alone can convince everyone of certain truths. Okay, then the conclusion, the significance and legacy of the Parmenides. Parmenides' philosophy is considered the pinnacle of philosophical thought for several reasons. One, it challenges our fundamental assumptions about reality and change. Second, it demonstrates the power of logical reasoning and languages in uncovering truths about existence. The third, it has been a source of inspiration and challenge for subsequent philosophies throughout history. And last, 4. Even philosophers who attempt to resist Parmenides' conclusions, such as Plato and such as Aristotle, or contemporary philosophers such as Emmanuel Levinas included, they must grapple with the power of his logic. Okay. The enduring influence of Parmenides' thought highlights its significance in the history of philosophy and its continued relevance in contemporary philosophical debates. Well, that's all. In fact, I explained that Parmenides is the most important philosopher in my book because the thesis of nothing is nothing has unshakable correctness. How do you think? Nothing is nothing. Is the thesis unshakable? We have to admit that thesis is correct because nothing is nothing. If we think nothing, then the nothing appears in our mind. Then the nothing in our mind no more nothing because nothing is in our mind. You see? This is the Parmenides point. Nothing is nothing. I want all you to understand the wonderness of the thesis of nothing is nothing. Yeah. Okay. Next philosopher is Democritus. He is famous for his theory, atomic theory. Atom. And then he said against Parmenides, nothing is also exist. And then the Democritus is called a laughing philosopher because nothing is also exist. Stupid, crazy thesis. Because then I will explain you why Democritus can say that nothing is also exist. It's impossible. So hope to see my next video. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye bye.